Okay, this is the information from section 5.2. So far, we've learned how to graph lines on a coordinate plane by two different methods, okay? And we're going to review those two methods again. Let's say I have this equation. Y is equal to 3x plus 6. And if I do it by table form, okay, we'll call this method 1 and we'll call this method 2. By method 1, all I do is I pick values for the x and I plug it in to figure out what the values are of the y that go with it. So let's say I pick -1, 0, and 1. And I plug it in, it's already solved for the y. So I say 3 times -1 plus 6. That is going to give me a positive 3 here. So I know I have the point -1, 3. If I plug in 0, 3 times 0 plus 6, I'm going to have the point 0, 6. If I plug in 1, I'm going to have the point 1, 12. And then I put those on the coordinate plane, okay? So I have, I have to make it small so we can get it on there. -1, positive 3, 0, 6, and 1, 12. And that's going to make that straight line. Okay, so that's graphing a line on a coordinate plane by the table form. We've already done this. This is just the review. Then we learn how to do it by x and y intercept. So, if you remember, so this is method 2. I'm going to get the x-intercept, I'm going to plug in a 0 for the y. So I have 0 is equal to 3x plus 6. Then I'm going to have to solve for the x. So I have -6 is equal to 3x, or x is equal to -2. Y-intercept, I let x equal 0. So I have y is equal to 3 times 0 plus 6, or y is equal to 6. That's going to give me the point -2, 0, because I know the y is equal to 0, and then the x is equal to -2. When the x is equal to 0, y is equal to 6. So that gives me 2 points to place on my graph. So I have a -2, 0, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So those are my 2 points, and it gives me the same line that I got from the table. So that's method 2. Again, you've already done this. Method 3 is the easiest method, and that is what you are ready to learn right now. Oops, I'll use that same equation. Y is equal to 3x plus 6. Okay, method 3 is called slope intercept form. Okay, this is actually in slope intercept form. We've already talked about the first part of slope intercept form. We've talked about the mx. The m is always your slope. Now remember, slope is rise over run. So if you remember right, we've gone back, we figured out how to find the slope by that method. But sometimes they already give you the slope. This part right here, we're going to add, and this is your y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis. So if they gave me this equation, and I wanted to graph that, and it's already in what I call the slope-intercept form. which is y equals mx plus b. Now that is very important. You have to have it in that form. Notice that the x value has to come first. So what I do, the very first thing I do, is I find my y-intercept. My y-intercept is at 6, so I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I put a point, okay, from that. Then I apply my slope from that point. Okay, so from this point, here's my slope. My slope is 3, which is the same thing as 3 over 1. Remember, it's rise over run. You can remember that by you have to get up before you run. So I'm going to go up 3 from this point, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go over to the right, 1. Missed my point, but that is the exact same line that we got when we graphed it this way and we graphed it this way. But it is way easier to graph it through slope-intercept form. Let's do another one. All right, let's say I have y is equal to 2/3 x plus -4. Simply put, it's already in the right form. Okay, remember the form is y equals mx plus b. So very important, okay, because it has to be in that form to be able to graph it. So, my y-intercept is -4, so I go down -4 on my y-axis. I put a point, okay? Then I'm going to apply my slope from this point. I'm going to go up 2 and over to the right 3. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And you just graphed your line without using a table and without using the XY intercept. Okay, now, sometimes what they'll do is they'll give you this information and they'll ask you to put it in that form. So they might tell you the y-intercept is -7, the slope is 1/4. And they'll say put it in slope-intercept form. Remember the y-intercept is the same as the b. So I'm going to plug in to those two spots. This is going to be my b, so that's going to be my y-intercept. So that's -7. This is going to be my slope, the m, so I'm going to plug in 1/4. There is my equation of a line in slope-intercept form when the y-intercept is -7 and the slope is 1/4. Now, if they ask you to graph that, you're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, put a point, then you're going to apply your slope. You're going to go up 1 and over to the right 4. Whoops. I think my graph is a little off and not having graph paper. I think it's like that. Okay. You might want to use rulers. That'll help. Okay, so that's slope-intercept form. Unfortunately, you don't always have it in that form. So sometimes they give it to you in things like standard form, and you have to put it in that form. So let's say I have this one, 5x minus 6y, or minus 3y equals 6. And they say graph that, okay? Well, you could graph it by a table, you could graph it by the x, y intercept, but we're going to try to graph everything today by slope-intercept form. So I've got to solve this for the y, so it matches that. And remember how a while back I said get in a habit of putting your x first because you're going to need to? Well, this is y. So at this point I subtract 5x from both sides, so I have -3y is equal to -5x plus 6. I still have to get the y by itself, so I'm going to divide by -3. So now I get y is equal to 5/3 x plus -2. This now is in my slope-intercept form, so I can just take it and put it on a graph. Y-intercept is -2, so I put a point at -2, and then it's okay to have a fraction there because that's your slope, so I'm going to go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over to the right, 3, and draw my line, okay? When you start counting up 5, you do not count this point. You start right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, way easier to do on graph paper. Okay, so you get the concept here. Let's do another one that's like that. Let's see, here's one. All right, so let's say I have 5x plus 4y equals 8, and it says graph. So I want to get it in slope-intercept form, so I want to solve for the y. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. So I have 4y is equal to -5x plus 8. Remember, the x has to go first. I'm going to divide both sides by 4, and I get y is equal to -5/4 x plus 2. So when I graph that, I find 2 on my y-axis, because that's the y-intercept. So there's the 2. And then remember, this is a negative. Now you could have it on the negative on the top or the bottom. It doesn't matter. But right now I've got it on the top. So I'm going to go down 5. If it's negative, I'm going down. So I've got -5, and now I've got +4. So I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And because it's a +4, I'm going to go to the right 4. Okay, now let's say I had it the other way around and I have a +5 and a -4. I'm going to go up positive, because it's +5, I'll go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the negative being on the 4 means I'm going to go left 4. So I'm going to have this point right here, which notice is the exact same line. So it doesn't matter whether the negative is on the top or the bottom. But if I had a negative on both, that would make this a positive. Positive means I go up if it's on the rise. If it's positive on the run, I'm going to go to the right. If it's negative on the rise, I'm going to go down. If it's negative on the run, I'm going to go to the left. That is all the information for section 5.3. So this is what I want you to do for homework on this section. Page 275 through 276. I want you to do, let's go 14 through 38 even. Actually, let's change it. This way you'll be able to check it in the back of the book. The answers for the odd are in the back of the book. So let's again do page 275 through 276. Let's do 15 through 39 even. Or odd, I'm sorry. And so that answer, you'll be able to check your answers. Okay?